So in Revelation chapter 17, and in our last study, although I was supposed to finish off with verse 10, I actually went on to read verse 11 because it has a connection to verse 10 as well, where it talks about the seven kings, and I'll show you who the seven kings are, as well as the eighth. It's interesting here, it talks about seven kings, but then it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth. Okay, so remember how I said that the kings represent kingdoms, okay? And the beast also represents a kingdom. So this is all talking about the same thing. So I showed you that the seven kings start with Egypt. So we have Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, and then Greece. Those are the first five. And then after Greece, we had Rome, which started off as pagan Rome. Rome then changed and became an ecclesiastical empire known today as the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church had supremacy from the years 538 to 1798 when the Pope was arrested, and then it received a deadly wound when the Pope was arrested. So this is what it talks about when it says that, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth. Okay, so the papacy kind of received a deadly wound. It was almost like it died. It's almost like the papacy died, but then it was resurrected again. So this is the eighth that is being spoken about here. And then verse 12 says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. The 10 horns which thou sawest, these are the 10 horns on the beast that is being ridden by the woman. Okay, let's just find it here. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast. Scarlet is red, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Remember I said that the 7 heads are the 7 mountains, are also the 7 mountains upon which the Vatican is built. 10 horns. So this beast that is being ridden by this woman has 10 horns. So this is what this is talking. It's what verse 12 is talking about. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet. And let me show you what the 10 horns are. Just here. These are the 10 horns that are being referred to in that verse. Let me just open it up so it becomes more clear, and then we can go through it. Right, let's open it up. Let me open it up in a different app. Okay, hopefully that's a lot more clearer for you. And this is true here. This is how the world was actually divided into 10 regions, and it was the Club of Rome. And note the little clue there in the name of this secretive organization. It's the Club of Rome. It's Rome that's ruling the world, with being led by the Jesuits. So it says here, regionalized adaptive model for the New World Order. So in region 1, which we see here, is North American Union. Very interesting that in the recent World Cup tournament that we had, there were 3 countries that hosted the World Cup. It was Mexico, America, and Canada. So this is what is known as the North American Union. And from documents and books that I've read, it's been said that this region will end up with its own currency, in the same way that you have Region 2, the European Union has its own currency and its own flag and things like that. I think eventually the plan is for them to have their own police force and their own army as well. And then you have Japan, European Union is what it says here, and that's Region 3, which is over here. Okay. And then we have number 4, Pacific Union, which is down here. So we have Namibia, South Africa, and Australia. They are in Region 4. Asia Cooperation Dialogue, which is region 5 up here, including Russia. 6, South American Union, it's down here. Okay. 7, Arab Customs Union. Number 7 is over here. That includes North Africa and all the Arab states here. Number 8, African Union, and I think this one is widely known actually. African Union, which encompasses Zimbabwe as well, which is where I am, and it includes Madagascar as well. Number 9, Southeast Asian nations, down here. I think that includes China. 10, no, this is India. I beg your pardon. India and some of the other countries here, I think Malaysia and others. Number 10, I think that's China, if I'm not mistaken. So these are the 10 kings that are being referred to in Revelation. What verse was that? I think it was verse 12, if I remember correctly. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. And these 10 kings have not received a kingdom as yet, because at the time when John the Revelator was writing this, of course, the world hadn't been divided into 10 regions as we see here. This actually happened in 1973, and this was done, the dividing of the world into 10 kingdoms or 10 regions was done in 1973 by the Club of Rome. So that's why it says here, they have not, are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet. But in the European Union, there is actually someone who can be referred to as a king, and that's actually Ursula von der Leyen. She's the head of the European Union. I think her title is president, but of course the Bible calls them kings. She's the president of the European Union at the moment. There was someone else who was there before her, and perhaps should be replaced at some point. I also found an article, I think it was last year in 2025, I read an article that Ursula von der Leyen's family, her ancestors were actually involved in the slave trade. So it's interesting that as the European Union is trying to enslave all these European countries through these the various different mechanisms that have been brought in, such as digital ID and the carbon credits and CBDCs. This is a form of enslavement. It's always someone who was involved in the slave trade who ends up getting a position, such as the one that Ursula von der Leyen had. In fact, even David Cameron, I don't know how many of you know David Cameron, who was a former Prime Minister in England, former Prime Minister of the UK. Apparently his family was also involved in the slave trade. So let's just finish off verse 12. And it says here, they have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Now let me show you so when it says 1 hour, where is it? But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Of course, the beast being spoken about is the beast of which these horns are. Okay, these horns are on the same beast here. They receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. This could be referring, when it says 1 hour, it could be referring to the fact that when these 10 kings are in place and they are ruling the world, after they are given positions as presidents of these 10 regions that I've showed you here many times, it could be referring to the fact that they are in those positions for a short time. This 1 hour could refer to a short time, or it could refer to prophetic time, which I'll share with you just now here. So this is the video I was referring to earlier, and this is actually from my video on Revelation chapter 8, where I showed you how you can break down prophetic time. So 24 hours, which is a day in prophecy is 365 days. Okay, so here in Revelation chapter 17, the end part of verse 12, it talks about those 10 kings or 10 presidents receiving power for an hour with the beast. Remember, I said that when it says 1 hour, it could be referring to a short time, or it could be referring to prophetic time. 1 hour in prophecy would be, because if 30 minutes, because in Revelation chapter 8, it talks about half an hour, okay? So half an hour is 30 minutes. If here it talks about 1 hour, the 10 kings receiving power for 1 hour. 1 hour would be double this, okay? So if 30 minutes is 7 days, then 1 hour would be 14 days. But it could also be referring to just a short space of time. Verse 13, these have, talking about these 10 kings, okay? The 10 horns represent 10 kings. These 10 kings have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, okay? I think it's very clear that these presidents will give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. One of the ways that the enemy makes war with the Lamb being Jesus, is they fight and persecute his saints. Okay, they fight against Christ in the person of his saints, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Of course, they fight against Christ in many other ways, like fighting against his word. We see that the Bible is actually either banned or is restricted in 52 countries around the world, and even in Canada. I remember seeing a report recently that they're trying to ban certain verses from the Bible. I think they're trying to make it so that anyone who's preaching is not allowed to quote those verses. So there's definitely a war on God's word. Those who don't see it must be really blind not to see it. There are many things being done to stop the spread of Christianity and to stop Christians practicing their Christianity freely. So here it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, remember it said that in verse 1 or 2, I think it was. It's verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which sitteth upon many waters. And I explained that the great whore is the papacy, okay, it's Roman Catholic Church. A whore in prophecy is a bad church, okay. Sitteth upon many waters. And these waters are now what's being explained here. And saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are the peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So that's what water represents in prophecy. But I think I've shared that with you many times. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Although these 10 horns, the 10 presidents which shall be selected to lead these 10 regions here, although they actually work with the whore and with the beast at the beginning, it says they shall turn and shall make, what does it say here? They shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So those 10 presidents that are going to rule over those 10 regions are going to turn against the Roman Catholic Church in the future. In other words, another way of explaining this is that, in fact, I said it here, it's the New World Order, okay? This New World Order, which is being created by the papacy, is actually going to turn against the papacy in the future when they realize they've been deceived, okay? And they're going to turn and hate the whore, and it says here, shall make her desolate. They're going to destroy the papacy, and shall eat her flesh. This is not to be taken literally, okay? It basically means they're going to destroy the papacy, the Catholic Church. Verse 17, for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. Whose hearts are these? It's the hearts of those 10 presidents who are ruling over those 10 regions which I showed you earlier. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So they'll start by cooperating and working with the papacy, but eventually they're going to turn against her. Verse 18, and the woman, speaking of that whore or harlot, the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Which city could this be? There are many who say, for instance, I think it was in the last video on the first half of Revelation chapter 17, where I said there's a lady on YouTube who actually said that she used to believe that America is Babylon, and then later now she's changed her position, and she now thinks that New York is Babylon, which is all incorrect. It's quite clearly it's the papacy. Okay. So there are some who say, like this lady says, she believes New York is Babylon the Great, of which this woman is Babylon the Great. There are some who say it could be some other part of the world that's being referred to, especially when it refers to the seven hills. But I showed you that the seven hills are those that the Vatican was built on. I think there's some who believe that Rio de Janeiro or something, or some other great city in the world is built on seven hills, and they say that Rio de Janeiro is that city. It's not. It's the Vatican. Okay. So let me just read verse 18 again. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city. So this woman is a great city as well, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So who is reigning over the kings of the earth? Let me just share with you some photos here online. Who do the presidents and the prime ministers and even the kings and the queens of the world go and visit, especially the presidents and the prime ministers when they get selected? Where do they go? They go to the Vatican. So here we see Biden meeting with Francis the first, who is now late, and I'm not even sure if this is the real Biden. It's probably this can't be the real Biden, because the one who was shown as the president of the United States, I think it was between 2016 and 2020. They said that was Biden, but I don't believe that was Biden. Anyway, this is a person who's shown sitting with Francis I, and then we have an old photo of President Eisenhower with the Pope. I don't know. They know the name of the Pope at the time. Ronald Reagan and his wife meeting with JP2. JP2 with Ronald Reagan, and we have Francis I with Obama. And this is not a president. This is Tim Cook. He's the CEO of Apple, meeting with the Pope, who is now late. JFK, there's no Pope here, but JFK was Roman Catholic, by the way, but he was a disobedient Roman Catholic. That's why he had to be removed. We have Obama here and his husband, Michael Obama, meeting with Benedict XVI. And then we have President Nixon meeting with the Pope. At the time, I can't remember what the name of this Pope was. Trump, of course, Trump is Jesuit trained. He made that clear in his book, The Art of the Deal. He said, I got along very well with the Jesuits. Here he is standing with Francis I. We've got so-called celebrities here meeting with Francis I. In fact, if you do some research and look into the background of many of these so-called celebrities, you'll find that many of them are Roman Catholics because they're involved in the media. We've got comedians here. And I've said to you a number of times, that the Catholic Church says that it is her right to own all forms of media. So, of course, in the media, you're going to have many Roman Catholics. Some which I can name now, like Megyn Kelly is Roman Catholic, Piers Morgan, Roman Catholic, Candace Owens, Roman Catholic. And some of them may not necessarily be Roman Catholic, but they are CIA agents. Tucker Carlson is Roman Catholic. Of course, he will deny that. So some of them, what they do is they'll say that they left the Catholic Church, and they'll say, I think it was the Tucker Carlson or Sean Ryan, who's also Roman Catholic, but they'll say that they joined non-denominational churches. But at the same time, like on their channels, they'll invite Roman Catholic priests, like Sean Ryan. He's invited many Roman Catholic priests on his YouTube channel. Of course, he's promoting Catholicism. And remember, I said that those who as soon as I hear someone saying that their dad was in the CIA, I know that person is also working for the CIA. Like Andrew Tate, who said his dad was in the CIA, and flashes many Masonic hand gestures. Tucker Carlson also said that his dad was in the CIA, and I made a video showing that Tucker Carlson is a CIA agent, okay, including Sean Ryan as well. And we have got Mark Zuckerberg, meeting with the late Pope, and Bono, and here we have George Bush Jr. meeting with JP2, and then we have J.D. Vance and his wife, and Marco Rubio meeting with the current Pope, Pope Leo. Some of these people, I don't know what their names are. That could be Antonio Banderas, I think. Yeah, it says that here. Antonio Banderas and his girlfriend meeting with the Pope. And we have LBJ, who took over as president in America after JFK was assassinated by the CIA and Mossad and the Mafia. He became president. This is Pope Paul VI. I think. Yeah, this is the same Pope here as well, with Nixon as well. Okay. It's just sorry. Let me just go back and look at the other one. It says sorry, I don't want to click on this. Okay, it kind of disrupt what I'm doing. I was hoping to find the name of that Pope, but yeah. I think this is Eisenhower again, President Eisenhower, who was actually a general and killed many Germans after Germany lost the war in World War II. There were many Germans who were placed in open air prison camps, and they died from starvation and various diseases. In fact, Eisenhower is the one who came up with this term, military-industrial complex. Yeah, so we've got Zelensky here meeting with the late Pope, and we've got Trump and Melania and Ivanka meeting with Francis I. So I'm just showing you all this to prove that verse 18 of chapter 17 is that great city is definitely the Vatican. This is where the presidents and the prime ministers go. It is one of three city-states, of which the other two are Washington D.C. D.C. standing for District of Columbia, or was it District of Columbus, and the other one is the City of London, where banking is based. Okay, District of Columbia is where, or District of Columbus, I can't remember which one it is, but is where the military-industrial complex is based. Okay, so that's why, for instance, right now you see America fighting or bombing Iran. It's because the job of America is to fight wars on behalf of the papacy. Okay, that's why the military-industrial complex is based there. So I hope everything I've shared here in this end part, in these last 7 verses of Revelation 17 has made sense. Any questions? Once again, put them in the comment section. But thank you for those who continue to watch the videos and stay with me, who are seeking to understand the book of Revelation. If what I'm sharing is helpful to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share what you can with others. And I'm not saying that you should also create YouTube videos. There are many different ways to share truth. Okay. On WhatsApp, on Telegram, as you rub shoulders with your co-workers and those who are in university, pray for God to open up opportunities for you to share the truth with others. Don't keep the truth to yourself. The Great Commission that Christ gave us is for everyone who claims to be a Christian. If you're a Christian, you should be sharing the truth with others. Don't keep the truth to yourself. Help others to be saved as well. But yeah, thank you once again for watching. Be blessed.